Hi everyone, welcome back. Today we have this Questar second. This one was a surprise for me. I did try them in 2022 for 30 seconds in a store, and to be honest, I didn't like them very much. They were firm and I wasn't impressed with them, although they had, I think, the same midsole. The same, I mean the stack. I don't know if it's the same compound or they are exactly the same made, no idea. But I didn't like them very much. I was thinking this I should avoid in the future. But here we are today. We are giving a second try. Maybe it's a second model, I don't know for sure. But I'm glad that I made this choice to check them again. I even remember that someone recently asked me about these sneakers, what I think about them, and I believe I said something like, I didn't like them very much. I just tried them for a few seconds in a store and I wasn't impressed with them. But after trying this one, I believe that I could recommend this pair to most of the people, honestly. I don't know what is different, but something is, and they feel more softer than before. Not sure why, but this is how they are, at least this pair. And I'm saying at least this pair because I've seen many kinds of these Questar on internet and not all of them they are the same. I cannot say that all of them they are exactly like these ones because I haven't tried them, but I've seen that there are many different, so be sure when you buy them that are exactly like this one. I mean the same shape of the cage, the same on the back of the heel. Be sure you identify them well. The toe box also, it was different in others, so not sure is a difference in the midsole. In other words, few things that you should keep in mind. On the tongue, the date it should be after May 2023 on the label, and the midsole it should have quite a number of holes under the insole. I mean you will see the fabric that covers that footbed, but under you can also tell that it has some holes, and of course the outsole to have the same shape. I think that is obvious. And I'm saying all this because I want to be sure that you buy the same model, because I've seen on Adidas webpage models with different minor changes, and I only tried this pair and the other one from 2022, but it's a difference in between them, so at least this is what I noticed. Maybe I'm wrong. If it's after 2023, I think you are okay. Anyway, back to our video. This is the left foot, as you can tell. About the midsole in the sneakers, it's not as soft as Boost foam, for example, but is softer than in many other Adidas models that I tried so far, so not bad for 80 euros or dollars. In the shot we can see the outsole. I really like the thickness. The only problem is that exposed foam. I wish it wasn't there, but you know how they are these days, making some exposed foam in the footbed, which doesn't make sense. If you are a smart guy, you won't do that. I mean, you care about your safety. You don't do that. If they were having a carbon plate under, well, you can say I am protected with that carbon plate. Nothing will get to my feet. But without a carbon plate, your safety is in danger, in my opinion. I run in parks, so of course from a tree can fall things, like pieces of wood or you name it, and all those they would get in your outsole. That is the only reason that I don't like to have exposed foams in the outsole. And I'm saying all this because I already had this issue for a few times now, and it's very frustrating and scary and everything else. No matter what kind of striker you are, I mean heel striker, mid-foot striker, or even forefoot striker, is the same. That feet will touch the ground at some point. You want protection under your feet. I mean, you love your feet, right? That is the reason you are running in the end. You like your healthy life. And I don't want to have this concern while I'm running, like my feet are protected or not. Will be today or tomorrow the day when I will get once again something in my footbed. I don't want this kind of worries, I just want to run and that's it, nothing else. Unless that you are planning to run somewhere indoors, you'll have this issue. You'll face it in at least once in your life. if not, who knows how many times with this kind of sneakers that have exposed foam under your feet. Maybe you notice here this footbed, it does have some holes in them. That is why I said that is heavily perforated on these sneakers. In this shot we can see the right foot. There is a reason that I do this left and right foot check, because not in all the pairs the quality is equal, and in this pair I did have some issues with the right foot, for example, and here the problem was some undone seams. Doesn't feel like a big thing, but in few weeks it could be a big problem, you know. So in my opinion, if you find them a bit too large, those threads, just be sure to use a nail clipper and maybe a lighter and take them down, you know, like don't leave them large, because that will come undone even more in the future. That is why I recommend when you buy a pair, just inspect them well before you take them out to run with them. Of course, not all of them will have problems, but just be sure to pick the one that is well made, you know. I will in general pay special attention to those that they are having some discount. It's not mandatory to happen, but I will pay more attention on those. In this shot we can see the insoles. They are very basic, nothing special here, but at least they have the same thickness all over the insole. That is not happening anymore in all the sneakers like it used to be. Now I've seen that they are making the front end thicker to look bigger, and under the heel is like 1.5 2 millimeters at most. So they are getting smarter in that way. In this shot we can see the internal label. Here you can find the date, the serial number of these sneakers, and so on. And here we have the weight test. These sneakers are not that lightweight as others are, but I prefer it this way, and I wish they were having even some more in order to have better outsoles. In the end, it's translating in longevity of the shoe and also safety under your feet, because those for me are more important than being lightweight. I'm not lazy. I prefer to force myself to run more instead of having them for 2 weeks. Yeah, I'm just like that. Hate me if you want. 90% of us, we are just want to keep ourselves in good shape. We don't want to break a record of, I don't know, Bolt, Hussein. And for sure you won't do it with these 80 euros or dollars sneakers, so don't worry to be too lightweight, these sneakers. I just want to last, you know, that is important for me, and have some safety meanwhile under my feet. About the fit in these sneakers, they are true to size, and for regular feet they are very good. I don't find them too wide or too narrow, for my feet at least. For those that need this info, you can find it in all my videos, so I hope it's useful, you know. And here we can see the size of these laces in inches and centimeters, and also a better look of this shoe. Once again we can see here the footbed, as you can tell, is perforated, so that is important in order to have some cushioning in these sneakers, because the foam is a bit firmer than in other sneakers. In comparison with New Balance, for example, these ones they feel more firmer, but because they have a good stack in them, you'll still find some cushioning in these sneakers. I didn't say anything about the padding. The padding in these sneakers is right on point, I will say. Not too much, and it doesn't lacking, you know. The upper has one of it, as you can see, it is perforated. Under is the lining, of course, the one that you can find it inside. I really like this upper. It does remind me a bit of the one we can find in New Balance 1080 Fresh Foam version 9 from 2019, I believe they were. It's resembled to that one very much, and I really like it this way. I will say that these sneakers are made for all year around. They aren't only for summer or for cold weather. The cage on them is on the thinner side. I wouldn't go thinner than this though. In the shot I'm trying to show you with my fingers how thick is that midsole, just to give you a better perspective, you know. Although I would like to remind you that what you can see outside, inside is not the same, and you will see it a bit better in just a few seconds. The rigidity is still good enough, so I do like them. Right here you can see how much of that midsole you have inside. This is the real stack actually, not what you see outside. They still have enough to give you a good cushioning. Not the best, but good cushioning. Of course, I wish they were having that extra foam that you can see outside under my toe box, but this is how they are, you know. We do buy with our eyes instead of our brains sometimes, and this works, you know, for them. Works well actually. And here we have the water test, very easy. It will get absorbed, no problem. And I don't expect to have something different for this kind of sneakers. By the way, a small correction, because I wasn't sure with the upper, I did make this macro test, and we can tell that they have only 2 layers actually. In the shot we can see my instep. For those that care how they look my feet, this is the shape. My arch is medium high, I will say, and they have a regular width like I said before. By the way, this scene is in real time because I want to show you how easy it is to take them in and out if you need. The tongue seems to be wide enough even for my instep, and I'm saying this because in other sneakers it was too narrow. It doesn't cover my entire instep, and that's a pity, you know. So after a quick check, I can say that the stack is right there. You can feel it. You do have some cushioning. The cushioning is a bit more firmer than the one you can find in Ultraboost, but it's more. And I will prefer this one over the Ultraboost cushioning. In less words, I do recommend to give these sneakers a try. I will even consider to buy for myself a pair of sneakers if I need at some point. Unfortunately, the good things don't last too much, so they will might be change this model in the future and bring a new one with less rubber, of course. Because this is the trend these days. Everything new is worse than the one you find before. You know, it doesn't last as much as the one you find before. I had in the past sneakers that last 3 years, with intense use. And these days, well, you are lucky if they last 3 months, honestly. I had a pair of Nike. In 2 weeks, they're already losing their outsoles. Can you imagine? 2 weeks and they're already losing those outsoles. That's outrageous, honestly. About the stability, I did find it good in these sneakers. Nothing to complain, really. It's not perfect, but isn't bad for the price that they have, you know. And I did decide to add Ultraboost Light COLD.RDY in this video because I want to tell you the cushioning in this Questar 2 is better than in the one from Ultraboost Light COLD.RDY, which are 220 euros. So this with 80 euros are better in cushioning than those. Can you imagine? Well, for me they are. If you are wondering which are the differences in between the foams, well, the Boost material obviously is more responsive, more bouncy, and is softer. But in those sneakers, it doesn't have enough stack, you know, to make it good, to feel nice, you know. And here is where Questar 2 wins, you know. They have more stack, it's a bit more firmer, but you can still feel more cushioning because it has more stack. If you don't put enough foam under your feet, how will you expect to have good cushioning? I mean, that is stupid, right? The sneakers that are coming next, Galaxy 6. I did decide to add these ones in this video also. Those are run a bit small, so I had to size up half size for those Galaxy 6. The cushioning is less in those than in this Questar 2. And this will be it for this video. I will end here. Thank you very much for watching. See you next time. If you have any questions, just let me know. Don't forget to subscribe because that is so important for me. Have a nice day and please take care of you.